How's it going? Back here in Delaware, and I shot up to Wilmington and I'm visiting Nemours. It's the estate of Alfred Dupont from the big Dupont family. Big chemical company. And wow, this place is huge. Headed back to the gardens, 300 acres all together. Quite an estate. This thing was built 1909 and built by Alfred Dupont. I believe he would have been the great-great-grandson of Pierre, who first immigrated. So these are the Sunken Gardens, and up there, that dome is the Temple of Love. And looks like normally they have those things flowing too. All right, coming up on the Temple of Love. This is a pretty crazy looking statue. It says Diane. And kind of a evil Cupid, I guess. Bow and arrow with devil horns. Yeah, that's a great view right there. All right, so I'm gonna walk up to the house. All right, so I'm headed up to the house. And on the way, I'll give you some history on the Dupont family. And the patriarch, the first one to come over, was Pierre. And he arrived in 1800. So while in France, he was a confidant of King Louis XVI. He was head of munitions. And he actually was friends with Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson was in France for about 5 years as a diplomat. He was also friends with Anton Lavoisier. You might remember him from chemistry class. And Pierre actually had his son, Irénée, work under Anton. So, yeah, so then the French Revolution kicks off. And Anton Lavoisier actually lost his head. Pierre was imprisoned for whatever reason. He was released, but that's when he fled. That's when he moved his family over to the U.S. So once they arrived in 1800, the story goes that Irénée was out hunting, and he noticed the black powder over here was inferior to what they had in France. So he and his father set up a meeting with their old friend Thomas Jefferson, who was now president. And yeah, and they had talked Thomas Jefferson into letting them produce the black powder for the government. And yeah, so it was Irénée who actually started the company Dupont and started producing black powder. They supplied black powder to the War of 1812. They set up a big plant off the Brandywine Creek, which is not too far from here, just a few miles. And they picked a good spot where the creek elevation was lowered. So yeah, and so the water pressure would churn all their little mills. So anyway, so yeah, he started the company, and get a good shot of the house here. And while he was running the company, something I should note, there was a big, oh yeah, and they also funded this hospital years and years later, and it's the Nemours Hospital. And to let you know, Nemours was the name of the town they lived in France, so that's where that comes from. And oh yeah, so I should let you know, in 1818, I believe was the year, there was a big explosion at the plant on the Brandywine. Altogether 40 people died. So yeah, pretty sad. That gate's pretty neat looking. I'll just walk over there so I can stall some time and talk. Yeah, so Irénée ran the company. Once he retired, his son Alfred took over. And Alfred was a really good chemist. He had the technical skills, but he didn't make for a good leader. He was kind of a softie. So the company was quickly passed on to Alfred's brother, Henry. Take a look at this gate. Yeah, so the company was passed on to Henry, and he was the opposite of his brother Alfred. He didn't really have much knowledge of chemistry, but he was a really good leader. He was a military man. He graduated from West Point, ran a really tight ship, and the company really took off. So yeah, so under his reign, probably the most talented of the DuPonts began working for them. That would be Dupont, who was the son of Alfred, and he had both. He was a really good leader, and he had the technical skills, and he invented a new form of gunpowder. And then he was also responsible for the company producing dynamite. Eugene didn't necessarily invent dynamite, but yeah, they started producing it, and the company took a big step forward after that, because dynamite was sold, and it was helped with the building of the railroads, and spreading the country was important with spreading the country west. I don't know if you can hear it. There's a bell tower. You can't see it behind the trees. So yeah, the company took off. I'll let you know also, the DuPonts produced about 40% of the gunpowder for the Union Army during the Civil War. Then sad story, actually died in an explosion. So Henry went on. He was the one that actually still running the company, and he ran the company until the late 1800s. Oh, and a little side note on Henry Dupont, just for the Virginia people watching this, that Henry Dupont's granddaughter owned Montpelier, James Madison's house out there in Orange County. And also let you know that his great-grandson was John Dupont. If anybody saw the movie Foxcatcher, the crazy Dupont guy who killed the wrestler, that was him. And yeah, yeah, so yeah, anyway, so Henry ran the company. After that, it fell into another Dupont's hands. I don't remember his name, but the company wasn't doing well under him, and they were set to sell. They were going to sell the company. And right before they did, three Duponts stepped up. Alfred, a new Alfred, the one who owns this house, Pierre, another Pierre, and then a third one named Coleman. They stepped up, they bought the company. And after them, the company really moved forward. They produced ammunition, gunpowder for the World War I. And after that, they began to diversify, and that's when they turned it more into a chemical company. They invented Teflon, nylon. But yeah, so Alfred, he's the one who owned this house. And he was actually, he got into a dispute with his brother Pierre. And the story with that goes, I know I ramble, but what happened was Coleman wanted out of the company. He was going to sell his shares. He wanted to sell his shares to Alfred. Alfred said the asking price was too high, didn't want to buy. So Coleman went around and he sold his shares to Pierre. And Alfred thought that that wasn't fair. He was just kind of undermining him. And yeah, he accused Pierre of not being loyal to the company. So he actually sued Pierre, and he actually won. But the company voted to oust him. Like I say, that was 1916. And after that, he and his brother Pierre pretty much never talked again. And little side note on Pierre. So Pierre, he ended up leaving the company. He became the head of General Motors. And General Motors at the time was the largest company in the world. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. And also Pierre was one of the big contributors to the Empire State Building. So like I say, the Duponts have deep roots into America. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take a look at the house. So there's Alfred. George Washington. That's Alfred's third wife. She lived here until 1970. Alfred actually died 1935, so she lived here for 35 years. Conservatory. Bird cages have been in the house since 1910. They don't have any actual birds. It's the that's a bummer. Sorry, I have to wear this mask, and I have to wear my backpack like this. So this is the drawing room. Is this third wife again? Playing tennis. And this is the morning room. yeah, I believe that's going to be Irene right there, and his son, Alfred. Writing room. Yeah, neat little. And yeah, the Duponts were the ones that built the racetrack out at Montpelier down there in Orange County, Virginia.
2,000 books.
Yeah.
They included many first editions of 7 volumes. Oh yeah?
Well,
Yeah.
So the library, over 2,000 books.
My name is Barbara. I'm happy to answer.
Wow, check out that chandelier. King Louis XVI right there. Marie Antoinette up there. And I also found out that Alfred's third wife, Jessie Ball, is related to Ball, George Washington's mother. So, and this is the servants' quarter. Ah, a refrigerator. Neat little ice tray. Obviously the kitchen. Oh, and when his third wife Jessie passed away in 1970, they said pretty much this is exactly how the house looked. Almost everything here is original. I guess I'll go back here. Alright, I'm just kind of walking around aimlessly. I've kind of gotten lost, but I'm going to try to find some stairs that take me upstairs. And I'll let you know, Alfred was married 3 times. He divorced his first wife, second wife died, and then married his third wife, Jessie. Holy cow.
Upright, I will stand. Upright, I will stand. Oh, okay. Yeah. Moving on.
This place is blowing me away. Oh, there's Pierre right there. I gotta say the patriarch. I don't know if this is a Tiffany window. Pretty impressive. The blue room. So it looks like a children's room. The gold room. Apparently they had a lot of dogs. And here is the master bedroom. This is the sitting room. Miss Dupont usually ate breakfast in there. Another bathroom. I'm not sure what that is. It looks like that's called a hip bath or a sitz, S-I-T-Z bath. Never seen one of those. Yeah, it's definitely some 1920s attire. The Venetian room. Now it's like things never end. So this is the green room. Wow, unbelievable. Alfred's son designed that window. Yeah, the main reception hall. And there he is. Unbelievable. By far the nicest place I've been in. And I'm gonna walk way back to the other side and see if I can fly my drone. Those were the English gates I just walked through. And now I'm headed to the chauffeur's garage, and it's a bunch of their antique vehicles, so yeah, it should be pretty neat. And fountains everywhere. And she said about a 5-minute walk down this way. Okay, not too much further. And while I walk down there, I'll tell you the Duponts have taken a lot of criticism over the years. They've been labeled the merchants of death for supplying gunpowder to all these war efforts. And if you're a conspiracy theorist, a lot of conspiracies out there that they've used their money and their influence. A lot of the Duponts have been involved in politics to push for some of these wars so they can profit. So I thought I was done having to wear these masks. Door launch.
Yes, sir. About 20 years ago, the folks in power decided to remove the fluid so they would retain their image, their value, and that is for us to look at, for you to look at and appreciate. Yeah.
Chauffeur's garage. All right. 1960 Rolls Royce. Only 832 were built. 51 rolls. This thing is vintage. Buick Coupe, 1933. Looks like something Al Capone would be driving. Cadillacs. And like I say, Pierre was the president of General Motors, 1920. Tool shop. I'm surprised they don't have their chemistry lab. Well, I guess that's going to be over at Hagley tomorrow. Lathe. Old telephone. Stands 90 feet tall, holds 18,000 gallons. It's what supplied, of course, the cooking and the bathing water at the house. And bell was installed in 1919. They say there's a really good view from the hospital back there. So I'm staying here in Wilmington tonight. Tomorrow I'm going to visit Hagley. It's the actual plant, the original plant that was along the Brandywine. And the lady had told me about 3 other places to visit. I'm going to see if I can squeeze maybe one other in. They all sound like they're pretty nice, and definitely want to spend some time there. So yeah, I'm gonna have to eventually come back up here. And yeah, that's it for Nemours. Anyway, I'll see you.